Well, hello everyone. It's the evening of March 23rd, 2009. Just finished tonight's City Council meeting. This is your typical update. A lot of things for me to get through, but as always, I will keep it under 10 minutes. Going to touch on a few things. I want to talk a little bit. I just got back from Washington, D.C., the National League of Cities. Just want to give you my take on this, whether it was a boondoggle or not. I'm going to talk about the Committee of the Whole meeting that we had today, which was a good, intense democracy in action type of meeting. A lot of good stuff came out, and I was very happy with the way that things went there. And I'm going to talk about, of course, what happened at the City Council meeting tonight. First, Washington, D.C. My first trip as a council member, and I certainly, even though I wasn't mentioned in the article, I was sensitive to, the concerns about council member travel that's brought up. And I was really interested in, how much am I going to get out of this trip? Is it really going to be worth the taxpayer dollars? Probably whole trip fees and hotel and airfare and everything, probably looking about $2,000 worth of taxpayer dollars. And as always, we will eventually get all of my paychecks and my reimbursement forms out on my website. And if anyone wants to see any of them, I'm very transparent that way. You can get them from City Hall or you can get them from me directly. No secrets in this room. So I want to talk a little bit about some of the things I got out of there. Too often I've heard about this conference and people tell me who they sat next to. Well, I'm not too very impressed by that. I had an opportunity to meet with some higher up elected officials, kind of give them our pitch, and there were a few things that came up that I think is going to really help us going forward. The first of which is a little bit of we had a seminar that a number of us went on sustainability, and one of the really interesting things there is they talked about how important visioning is for a community, and I think it's something that perhaps we as a city council don't always articulate a vision of what we want Rochester to be 10, 15, 20 years from now enough, and then have our staff execute towards that expectation. After all, that's what we're elected for. But a lot of good exercises, good quality information on how to appropriately set up a vision. I think Sandra Means and I are probably going to bring something forward just as an exercise in trying to establish what our vision is, because even though we have a lot of different views on some immediate issues, my guess is that when the council sits down, all the members sit down and try and draw up what their city should look like in 20 years, it's not going to be so different. I think that's it's going to be a good experience for us all, and certainly a way for us to get on the same page together and really take some actions, not just trying to run the city day to day, but actually looking out the next 15, 20 years and making some immediate steps that go towards that end. Another thing that I spent a lot of time learning is just there's so much stimulus money out there, and I want to do everything in my power to get people in Rochester working as quickly as possible and get as many of these dollars into the community to serve some of the needs that we have. And one of the areas I think we have a unique opportunity to pursue are these energy efficiency block grants. Something I'm still learning information on, but I've made city staff aware of it. I've also briefly mentioned it with the Rochester area builders as well. Ideally, this money would be used to improve the energy efficiency of some of the older stock of housing. Initially, I'd probably aim this towards the 5 core neighborhoods of Rochester, but of course it can be expanded. But we have to put together a proposal, a comprehensive proposal, to show the transparency of what we're doing, the effectiveness of what we're doing, and our ability to leverage some local funds. And there are some things we can do in the community that will particularly, I think, set us apart from some other communities pursuing this. Now, details are real fuzzy on all this stuff, but there are a number of opportunities that we have that we learned about in D.C., and I think it's going to be to the benefit of the citizens as we bring some of this information back. And third thing, there was obviously a lot of talk about the high-speed rail route. That's a huge issue, and not just southeastern Minnesota, but as that turns out, all of Minnesota, and people want to get it coming. And it gives us a chance to talk a little bit about what the advantages of running that route through Rochester is. First of all, that we already need this corridor. There's the CapEx 2020 is looking for a similar corridor, so it's not like we're reinventing the wheel. We can actually run high-speed trains our route. You can't do that along the river. We're not in a wildlife migratory route, so no one would call our train line the Eagle Killer or anything like that. There's obviously potential with electricity running along those lines, that if the lines became electrified, the infrastructure for that would already be there. There's offloading freight from the Twin Cities Airport. A whole host of advantages, not to mention in terms of ridership, we'd be significantly far above every other line along that route. And the additional thing is, even if you ran at that route, a lot of those cities probably would not get a stop on a high-speed line, simply because it would delay the trip from Chicago to La Crosse, or Chicago to St. Paul a little bit too much. So we got to get our point out there. And what I always point out too is, let's just do a good study. let's a lot of money at stake here, the future of an entire region at stake here. Let's not jump to conclusions. Let's do a study and pick the right route. Now, there are some people out there saying, no, we don't have time. We got to go right away. And I always tell people, when you got one group saying, let's study it and make the intelligent decision, and the other group is saying, no, we got to go right away. We got to go with what's there. You got a pretty good idea who's got a stronger case. And, and we need to get that message out there. We need to continue to lobby at all levels to make sure that the right choice is made. With regards to the committee of the whole, very exciting, intense meeting today. I love it. There was some interesting stuff happened, but basically the big thing was the tree ordinance coming up, a street tree ordinance where as we built new homes, they'd be required to have appropriate street trees put in place. There's a number of advantages for this, whether it be air quality, stormwater runoff, life of the asphalt pavement on there, removing particulate matter from the air, energy savings associated with the homeowner. Worst case scenario, we're adding $2.40 or something like that to a monthly mortgage payment, with energy savings far greater than that, so it's not really a cost issue. The Rochester area builders passionately oppose it, and it actually did not pass later on. We had a consensus going, but the reality is one of the council members had to leave, and we were left with 3-3 votes at the city council meeting, so it was not able to pass, but we tabled it until next week. And if you're interested in supporting this, I would encourage you to contact Mark Bilderbeck and tell him how important this is to you, because he's going to be the tiebreaker on this one. Let's see. One of the interesting things is, there were a number of builders that spoke there, and I would agree with their assessment that they have gotten a lot better about planting trees. Now, there's still a lot of issues that I see, and some builders are doing a good job and some are not doing a good job. I took very big exception to one of the builders that I thought was particularly frequently cut corners, and brought up they wanted to pat themselves on the back a little bit. And my response was, well, you still got landslides that were occurring 13 years ago, which just about which really set them off, really offended them. But it's this is something that's important to me. I don't care who you are. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care how well connected you are. I don't care if you're one of the big old boys. I don't care about how many lobbyists you can pay. If you're going to do things that hurt the citizens that I represent, things that are brazenly irresponsible to the city, and then just ignore them time and time again because you can get away with it. I'm not representing you. I have no interest to represent you. And they were very upset. I don't think they ever had anyone directly confront them like this before, and that's fine. They're upset. They accused me of being unprofessional. Got news for you. I'm not a professional politician. I'm not going to be anytime soon. I am unprofessional. That's the great thing about a citizen democracy. So if you want to call me unprofessional, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And they went running to some of their buddies on the council and on the city. You need to censure him. You need to censure him. Well, okay, maybe you do. Whatever. Let's see where that goes. To the actual meeting itself, obviously the tree ordinance I talked about. We tried a number of different things. Bruce Snyder wants to defend the rights. People. He's not comfortable with telling people where they have to plant trees. That's why he opposed it. Ed Ruska wants a more comprehensive approach. He did not want to pass this ordinance because he wanted to pass something all-encompassing, but it was brought up that would delay the ordinance. There's something like 2 years, and it's already been delayed 25 years, which is the issue that some of us had. And I think Council President Hansen, he agreed with that along those lines. We were stuck at 3-3 with myself, Council members Mean and Nowicki voting in favor of this. Council member Means attempted to do a compromise, whereas we would pass this or get them. We weren't passing the ordinance; we were getting them started on writing the text of the ordinance. But the compromise, and then we'd also direct them to continue working on the second one, which is absolutely the goal of CUTE and some of the volunteers and staff people that were involved. But that also did not pass. It was 3-3 as well. So that's where that one stands. One thing, we accepted a study on the on pedestrian improvements at the intersection of West Circle Drive and 3rd Street Northwest. Obviously, this one's near and dear to my heart. We've had tragedies there before. Something needs to be done. Something should have been done when this was built to better accommodate pedestrians. It's one of the areas where you have to cross the street a couple times to continue on the bike trail. No decisions made on that yet, but it's happy that there was a study done anyways, and hopefully we can get this one tied up the best we can. One of the options was a bridge. That's not going to happen. And finally, there's a little bit of talk on rework on 14. More on this More on this later. It's going to be from Highway 52 all the way out the east side of town. There's a potential for a lot of improvements there. It's desperately needed. I'm going to leave it right there. As always, you can contact me. I'm happy to answer your questions. See you at the next update.